Hello, welcome. It is September 1st and I have decided to do another vlog as I go manga reading log. How did I forget the word? If you haven't seen my previous video where I did this, in the month of March I vlogged after I read every single volume of manga in the month so I could give you my reviews on what I'd read like as I read it, because often if I do reviews like at the end of the month or a chunk like in a few weeks, I forget things. Don't even ask me what I had for breakfast this morning. I don't remember. I find these quite fun. As soon as I finish reading the volume, I record a bit of my thoughts, and I've decided to do it again for the month of September, just like I did it for March. I am traveling a lot in September, so also your backgrounds won't always just be this room. And weirdly, I'm hoping to actually get a lot of reading done because of my traveling, because I'm traveling in a way that allows me to take fat stack of manga with me. I'm going to be driving to Brighton from Yorkshire. Join me for this. The March one was about an hour-long video and I only read 28 volumes, I think, or under 30 volumes, and I'm hoping to try and smash that quite aggressively, which means this might be a bit of a longer video, but I still hope you enjoy it. Just before I get into the reviews, which I've obviously not filmed because I've not read anything yet, don't forget to give this video a like, comment and subscribe, and check out my social media and affiliate links are found down below. Like using code Caketinz at sci-fi for 10% off. I need to go and get some reading done. I hope you enjoy this video and I will see you in the review. So I've already read my first volume over my lunch break, and that is Game Between the Suits 4. Now, warning for this entire video, I will be spoiling the volumes I have read as an FYI, but I'll put timestamps down below, so if there are any volumes you don't want to be spoiled on, skip along, run away, jump along. So I have said before that Game Between the Suits is my least favourite steamship title, and I think that does still hold true, but I have been enjoying it more, and I enjoyed this volume. So in this volume, both characters are kind of starting to understand and acknowledge their feelings for each other, including the bit that happens at the end where she does confess to him, and it's like, oh, finally, because I just found the whole like not really talking and miscommunication and trying to like outwit each other, I just found it really like, oh no, I can't be bothered, I can't be dealing with this, you're adults. But they're communicating-ish, kind of, and the smut was kind of more fun to read. I feel like the more like invested in each other they've gotten throughout the volumes, the smutty scenes have also gotten better, because there's like the element of feelings between the two of them that wasn't there at the beginning. So I think I'm at a point where, yes, I still think this is potentially my least favourite steamship, but not as bad as it was before. I think this and like Ladies on Top are like, I've definitely enjoyed the fantasy ones more, the isekais. I do think there are some more steamship titles coming in the next few months, so I might have to reevaluate my listing then, but I think actually that they're all fantasies too, so this probably is still gonna stay where it is. We're using the most high-tech of phone stands today, which is a manga shelf. So I have 2 volumes that I have read. First off, we have Villainess and the Demon Knight and my cat. Thanks, Yuna. So this is a Villainess isekai steamship title, which I was so excited for the release of this year. Volume 1 came out a few months ago, and Volume 2 has just arrived. I actually opened it on a stream. I was gonna say only a couple of days ago, but for you it'll be a few months. So I really liked Volume 1. It is filled with questionable consent. There is basically none, but she seems fine with it. Though I'm still liking it because it has so many tropes that I enjoy. I definitely don't think I was as into Volume 2 as I was into Volume 1. I think Volume 1 I had like the hype on the excitement for picking it up was like driving me wanting to read it, whereas now we're on Volume 2. I was a bit disappointed with the spine actually. I was hoping that we'd get colourful spines and this would be like a purpley colour to match the cover, but no, it's still red. There is a lot of panels that I can't show you at all. Are there any that I can? Look at that. It's a very pretty series. Very pretty and very smutty. Basically, she's been isekai'd, and through a series of unfortunate events, she's kind of the villainess of the story, but she isn't actually much of a villainess. She's just been painted as a villainess when she's not. And by the beginning of the story, she's been sent to work at a brothel by her ex-fiance and the Maiden of the story,
and she's kind of rescued by this guy who is a commander or a knight of some sort. He is still like ranking nobility, I think, but in saving her, he does things with her. But it turns out that he's actually been in love with her since childhood and makes her his fiance. And the story sort of continues with that in this volume. Plus there is some like fighting scenes because he is a knight and he gets sent off to go kill something. There really isn't too much plot outside of the bedroom scenes. It's fine. Like, I like it. I really like it. But like, I can understand it's not exemplary. It's got the tropes I like. Second volume I read was Kaguya-sama Love is War 26. And this is the penultimate volume in the series. And Kaguya-sama, I loved the beginning of the series. I didn't really enjoy the middle of the series, and then I really enjoyed the last kind of arc. I really liked the end of this volume. I did get a bit teary because I thought it was super cute. I think there are parts of it though, because I find moments with like the kids, I say the kids, like the teens, like the main cast can be a bit cringy. The whole like, we all stand together and here's how our plans were executed. And it's like, oh dear. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that's just I'm not part of that age range anymore. I definitely think I could see it managing to wrap up the rest of its loose plot points in the next volume. I know I've said that this is going to be like full of spoilers, but I don't really want to spoil this volume too much. But the cover is like a hint of what happens towards the end, to be fair, of the volume. As I've said, like with this video, there is going to be spoilers for the volumes. There just is, because otherwise it's not much of a reading vlog, is it? It's like, oh, look at this, it was alright. I once again have 2 more volumes to show you. Pretty much like I've been finishing a volume and then maybe another one before I go to bed. And then I'm just too sleepy to try and film this just before I'm going to sleep. So I'm kind of just doing this like the morning after. So first we have The Boxer, Volume 1, and this was the last Ise Press Volume 1 that I had not read in my collection, / just, I think, the last Ise Press volume that's currently out as of early September that I've not read any of. I believe there's another one coming out at the end of the month, like Jungle Juice or something. I'll pick that up, obviously, but I'm now read up to date with all of the Ise Press stuff. No, not up to date, because I've only read volume 1 of this. I've read all the volume 1s of stuff that's out, is what I'm trying to say. I'm in 2 minds about this volume. I definitely don't think it's one of my favourite Ise Press volumes. I don't think it's the worst. I think it was okay. I quite liked that it kind of made me a little bit more interested about boxing. I'm not interested in boxing in general. I really appreciate series that managed to draw me in about a topic that I'm not interested in otherwise, and I want to learn more in the context of the story. I'm not really getting what's going on though. Like, there's a douchey character that's really good at boxing and he's finally been put into his place by this like prodigy guy at the end of the volume, and there's another guy whose dad's a boxer and he wants to be a good boxer. I feel like I need to read more anyway, because this just feels like setup. I don't feel like I'm understanding what the goal of the series is, what's going to be happening. I also struggled a bit because I was reading it in bed at night and there's a lot of pages that are really dark, like stuff like that. And I get there isn't like really anything to read or anything, but there are also some panels where there's black text on a dark background and I genuinely just couldn't read it and I was tired, and that just got me really like almost upset. I wasn't even angry. I think I was just tired and I was like, I just want to read it and I can't read this. That got me a bit grumpy. I think that's a me issue. So yeah, I don't think this is the worst Ise Press I've read, but it's definitely towards the bottom personally. And then the next volume I read is My Father is a Unicorn, and I believe this is a one-shot. This felt a bit like a palate cleanser. It was really sweet. It was very wholesome. It's about a guy whose mum has married a unicorn. So it's his stepdad is now a unicorn, and it's about him and the relationship with his stepdad, and the stepdad trying to live amongst humans and not get noticed in this apartment building and befriend other people in the apartment building. It's very strange, and there are some very strange moments about maidens and unicorns liking maidens, but it is mostly a heartwarming, sweet read. It's not like mind-blowing in my opinion, but it was actually quite nice to read this just before going to sleep and settling down. There is a lot of horse shots.
So I have 3 volumes to talk to you about today. First off, we have Ima Koi 6. Now, I've actually had this volume for quite a while, and I've just not gotten around to reading it, to the point that I have ordered volume 7 and it should be here within the next few days. Ima Koi is one of my favourite high school romance series out there at the moment. Especially, I'm enjoying ones where the characters get together a lot earlier on in the story and we can experience their relationship. But what I actually quite liked about this volume is sometimes, even though that's what I like, sometimes I find it can get a little stale if we've got a nice cushy relationship and it just keeps being nice and sweet. It can get a little dull. But with this volume, and the author actually says it at the beginning of the volume, we've kind of entered a new arc where we're kind of focusing on a new couple. Spoiler panel for this volume. But these two, Mireille, I think, and Noda, if I can get it to not look too bright. Nope, apparently not. Oh, if I hold it here, it's not too bad. Yeah, we're starting to sort of move away from the couple that's also on the back cover, but on the front cover. These two, I can't remember name. And yeah, we've moved on to start focusing on the other couple because I feel like they're quite established, and the first chapter or 2 of this volume is him meeting her parents because of things that happen, and I enjoy that. And the cover of volume 7 is the other couple as well, so I assume we're just going to see more of that relationship progress. I think it was one of the reasons I was enjoying series like Hatsuharu, where we were seeing more than one couple. We weren't with one pair for a long time. It sort of spread out a bit. Next volume I read was End Harem 9. Now, if you've been around a little bit, you might know that this is a volume I have slightly struggled to find. For a long time it was not in stock anywhere online at all, and then when it did come back in stock it was like £12-13. It was like just retail, nothing cheaper, but I managed to grab it on Sci-Fi. I'm very happy because I do have later volumes as well. This I feel like is like the quintessential degenerate series. When people talk about picking up a degenerate series, it always seems to be End Harem. Not to say like it isn't degenerate, I just feel like it's like the popular degenerate series, if that makes sense. To be fair, I think it was the first filthy series I picked up, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't think it's like outstanding. It has, I mean, obviously it has so many problems, but I feel like most degenerate series targeted at men generally have problems. Even, actually, you know what, even at women, most degenerate series have problems. This one is filled to the brim with like unconsensual anything, really, to put towards this poor guy. Basically, most of the men have died because of a disease, apart from like 5. And it's like, oh, quick, we gotta breed with these 5 men that are fine. And there's this like clan of women that's kidnapped a guy and taken it upon themselves to breed. There is like some more story to it. Like, they're trying to figure out a cure for the disease so they don't need to do this. Like, one of the guys is like, nope, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna try and cure it, because you know. So that bit's kind of interesting, I suppose, but at least I'm glad I can read further, and it's nice to actually have the volume when I've been hunting for it for a while. The final volume to talk about today is Formerly the Fallen Daughter of the Duke 4. Damn, this volume, I feel like this volume made me want to throw it across the room. I think almost in a good way, because of the, like, what happened. Actually, yeah, I've said I'm talking spoilers. This is filled with spoilers. So basically, this is an isekai. She is in an otome game, but the first few volumes, she's not, like, completely aware. She's, like, drifting in and out between the otome game world and real world, and she's not really sure what's real and what's not. But through some actions that happen in this volume, she does realise, she sort of twigs and realises what's happening. She is in a game, and the people around her are characters in the game. She herself is a character in the game. She has ended up, through the first few volumes, moving to another city where she's treated nicely and has ended up with a fiancé and a group of people she loves, dear friends. She's so happy, but unfortunately a situation arises where a fiancé and friend pretty much are in a coma and doesn't look like they're going to wake up. And that's like the moment when she's like, I'm in a game. And what she decides to do is to go back to a previous save point and reload the save to when her fiance and friend are okay, and to try and mitigate what happened from happening again. So she managed to get herself back into the real world, load a new save, go back, and we start the story again from just before volume 1 started, actually a bit before that as well. And I've really enjoyed it because it's an isekai, and she's like used video game reasoning to go back in time and start again by loading a new save, and she's already got prior knowledge of stuff that's going to happen. She knows things that she needs to do to try and avoid bad things happening, but things also seem to be a little different and she's not entirely sure why. So I'm annoyed because like we've lost these relationships she's built, but I also really like the use of what she did. But also, I don't think there's any more volumes out, even in Japan, so... But apparently there is a light novel, and her going back is the end of the first light novel, and I think there's 2 or 3 out. So we definitely do still have content to go, just in terms of manga. Probably got a little wait. So on the cover, this is her before she goes back in time, and this is her when she has gone back in time, so her younger self. But both video game characters, I don't think either of these are her like real self. But I really, really like it. Really recommend. But damn, when she did that, I was like, you, damn it!
This lighting's a bit weird. I would have talked about what I read on the train if the train wasn't so busy and loud. But I read 2 volumes. I read Prince Freya Volume 9. I think Prince Freya is a series that you need to binge, having read this volume, and I spent the first half going, I don't remember who any of this is, I don't remember where we were, I don't remember what was happening, I don't remember what country we're in. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do with Prince Freya, I know it releases super infrequently, but I think because I binged a bunch of Prince Freya in my last Vlog As I Go video in March, and reading 5 volumes at once was great. I really got into the story, but reading it on its own after months, less so. So I think this is a series potentially that I need to binge. It's not very thick either, but yeah, I just struggled to remember who people were. So I think going forward with Prince Freya, I'm going to wait and hold on till I have a few volumes to read in one go. And then we have Oshi No Ko 3, and I've not taken the sticker off yet. This has been my favourite volume so far. We had a whole bunch of drama with Aqua. He has joined a reality dating show with other entertainment teams to try and find out some more information about who their potential father is, to try and find out Ai's killer. And it was really dark. It was really dark, and I liked that. I liked how dark it was because there was a whole bunch. I mean, they're all teenagers. They like range from like 15 to 17. The kids on this show, not very old at all. And it gets really dark, and it gets really like, it talks a lot about internet hate comments and how much of an impact that can actually have on a person and drive them to do dark things. It's the whole, yeah, sure, you're anonymous, but your words do actually still have meaning and impact on the person that you're throwing them at. I liked how they came together. They came together to make it better. I enjoyed that. And I am slightly rushing because I am late to meet Tiffany. So sorry, Tiffany.
Okay, we're being a little lazy with these ones because I really am not feeling good. That heat in London absolutely has killed me. I feel so unwell. Yeah, so I read all 4 of these on the train. Super happy. These are all volumes I picked up in London in 3 of 2s. Definitely was a little bit more pricey than buying it from elsewhere, but I was quite excited and I got to read them on the train. So let me go through them in the order that I read them. So the first one I think I read was Eccentric Doctor of the Moonflower Kingdom 3, and I've not taken the stickers off just yet. I think so far this has been my favourite volume in the series. This is kind of like Apothecary Diaries, except the main character is like, her personality is way different to Mao in Apothecary Diaries. She's much more like bouncy and jubilant and happy and carefree and jolly. But also I think this has like a bigger focus on like a medical doctory side to it. So spoilers again for this volume. She actually performs a surgery in the volume where she takes out someone's appendix. There's also a later point in the volume where she performs the... I forgot what the actual word is. A woman drowned and she performed chest compressions and mouth to mouth to get her heart moving again. So it feels a lot more... Whereas I'd say Apothecary Diaries does have those aspects, it makes me think more of like a mystery, whereas this one makes me think more like actual trying to apply medicine in an imperial setting. Is imperial the right word? Yes, I enjoyed it. Favourite volume of the series. And it's nice, and at least it's a bit chunkier than some other volumes. Next we've got our cat has brought a present. Meh. Okay. Oh, Mika. They were very sad. Oh, very happy when we came back from London, isn't that right, Mika? You've been a bit needy for cuddles. But that's okay. I'm needy for cuddles too. Or not. Okay, the next volume I think I read was Dinosaur Sanctuary 3. Also forgot to stick her off. I feel like Dinosaur Sanctuary is a series that is really good to try and recommend to someone who's not really necessarily that much into manga, especially if they're into dinosaurs. This can be like a nice gateway. Dinosaur Sanctuary is kind of like if Jurassic Park didn't go wrong, where there are zoos, is zoos the right word still, that have dinosaurs and they look after them, and it's just really wholesome about them and the dinosaurs. What I really, really like about this volume is we have, if I can get it fold out nicely, we have like, oh, bounced away. We have a full like park map all the way down to where the toilets and the gift shops are, and I love this kind of detail. This is such a nice addition to the volume that's kind of unnecessary but really fun. And then on the other side, we've got like more info about like opening times and prices and stuff. And I just absolutely love that. So the story's kind of, we're in this one sanctuary and it's struggling a bit. And at the moment, they're trying to come up with ways to try and make it more appealing, get more people to come out to see it. And we keep seeing different dinosaurs in each chapter, more or less. And it's just really nice. It's not a heavy read, but it's still a really nice read. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, it's not heavy, it's kind of like a palate cleanser, whereas that was just, it's just nice to read this. Also, this purple, and I think the colour of volume 2 are like my favourite colours. I love this. Next volume I read, damn it, did I take any of these stickers off? Is we have The Night Captain is the New Princess to Be. This is a new series, and I had avoided picking it up on Sci-Fi because it was a bit pricey, but I was actually quite surprised. This was $11.99 in Forbidden Planet, and most 7Cs aren't that low anymore, unfortunately. Anywho, I feel like it was okay. This, I don't think was great, but it had what I like in a romance series, which is unnecessary non-stop drama. Like kidnappings and attempted murder. Perfect, but it was so low stakes, it was pretty much resolved like the next page, and then it just happened again a few pages later. It's just like non-stop trying to get them into those situations. Basically, he's a prince, she's the captain of the knights, they're childhood friends, he has to find a fiancé or reasons, I can't remember. And he is actually in love with her and asks her to pretend to be his fiancé, and she's like, yeah, sure, I'll help the kingdom, but he actually wants it to be real, and she doesn't quite realise that. I think by the end of the volume it is realised that it's real, I think, but yeah, they kept ending up in like dramatic situations with assassins, kidnappings and murder attempts, and it wasn't amazing, but I liked it. That's my takeaway. Though, what I must say, something that sometimes annoys me with series is, there we go. So, the pages on the right are the story, and the pages on the left are like one-shots. Like, how much? That is so much of one shot that isn't actually this story. Now, I must say, I did actually quite like the short chapters at the back. A demon king wanting to have some forbidden love with a human princess. Though the next one was a ninja marrying a high schooler. I think she's like in her second year, which is really, really young and a bit, yeah. If I could squint and not see the age, I'd probably have enjoyed it more. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I don't know if I would recommend it though, but I will keep reading it because I liked it. Final volume, and I also did not remember to take the stickers off, I took it off with the last volume, is Soara and the House of Monsters, volume 1. So this volume I knew nothing about except quite a few people in the Discord were really, really looking forward and excited for this release. This was another one that was $11.99 in store and surprised me because at that fact. So basically in this world, humans and monsters have been at war for ages and ages and ages, and then one day they decide to not be anymore. The monsters don't want to fight anymore, and they call off the war. Unfortunately, Soara has spent her entire life training to fight monsters and is like, what do I do with my life? I don't have anywhere to go. And as she's ambling along, she accidentally ambles into a group of dwarves, and they build monster houses for a living because all monsters really wanted was a home. And this entire volume, I was going to say series, but I've only read the first volume. The entire volume is just them ambling around, meeting up with a monster, and then building an appropriate home based on what they want. And I absolutely loved it. I loved it so much. I got almost emotional reading it just because it made me so happy to be reading it. It made me so happy. It reminded me a bit of like Dragon Ghost house hunting, but instead of just houses for dragons, it's houses for any sort of monster. And then we have these gorgeous pages like this where they've got like, they're describing the client and what they've currently got, and you all this like extra stuff around the sides explaining some of the problems they have or some of the things they like about their current home and what they want it to be turned into. And then you get an after of ways they've done to make it better, and you get mini floor plans. This was amazing. And yeah, she ends up joining along with the dwarves, even though she's a bit unsure still about monsters and stuff. But she's kind of like, it starts to like kind of hit because she's never really had a home, and she's helping the monsters have a home, and she's kind of starting to get into it a bit more by the end of the volume. But I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait for more so much. I'm so upset there's only one volume. Absolutely 10 out of 10 would recommend. So this is all the manga that I have packed to read on this trip. It is not the most, if I take my Switch out, it's not the most nicely packed bag, and I actually only read one volume on the trip down, and that was Villains Are Destined to Die 4. I was just so snoozy, sleepy, because I had to wake up early, so I just didn't get much reading done. I hope to do some this evening or go to sleep early. So we had a whole bunch of drama. I think this might be my least favourite volume yet, but that's like, it's not because it's bad. I still really enjoyed it, just comparatively. So on this volume, we've kind of gone on to like a little hunt, and she got a bit lost. Got stuck fighting a bear, and then this guy came and saved her. They then get attacked by assassins and stuck in a cave, where obviously they get really, I have to take their wet clothes off so they can dry off, obviously. Is the right thing to do. And another one. And through a series of unfortunate events, he also ends up getting poisoned, and she is blamed for a bunch of things and gets thrown in prison, jail, and that's where she is at the end of the volume. And we get this really sick looking panel of, where is it? Look how evil and gorgeous she looks. Damn Penelope. Damn Penelope. So yeah, again, not bad, just not my favourite so far. So I'm already like, where's volume 5? Where's volume 5? I hope it's green.
It's been a little bit of a hot minute since I did one of these. I haven't really read too much. Pretty much the whole trip down to Brighton, I was just knackered. I pretty much slept the whole way the trip back. So I only read one volume, and then coming back, I've just slept a lot. So I've not done a huge amount of reading. I have got 3 volumes to tell you about right now. I can find my basket. First off, we have Villainess level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord. Volume 1. Villainess, Isekai. Very much enjoyed it. So in this one, she's like, shit, I remember the Otome game, I think. Yep, that I played, and actually I am the hidden boss. So I'm just gonna try and level up and then live a peaceful life and not let that happen. Though she inadvertently accidentally becomes max level, level 99, and the story sort of picks up once she hits school where the Otome game takes place, where the main character and the love interests can be found. And there's a whole lot of like, because apparently there's a whole lot of bad connotations for people with black hair in this world, so already she gets lots of weird looks. And then when it's established, she says at first, I'm level 99, and everyone's like, you're lying, no one's level 99, but she is able to prove she is, which then obviously scares a lot of people off. I really like that she is not overly interested in like romance and stuff. She is just overpowered and trying to stay out of the way, but she's like stupidly overpowered. So we've got a wonderful stupidly overpowered isekai, and it's a villainess, and there's no booby harems, and she's not really bothered about the love interest. So it was just a really fun read. I quite liked it. I very much like the character. She's very like not understanding. I don't know what you're talking about. That's fine. Okay. Trouble with social interactions, and it was just, I found it a really fun read, and I can't wait for another volume. This one was unfortunately a little bit pricey because it is a One Piece books if it ever decides to focus, so they tend to be a bit more pricey. So I'll maybe wait till you can find it on a sale at some point, because I was a little unhappy with what I paid, but it was a Villainess one and I wanted to read it, so I did it anyway. Next up, I read a FAQ, and I'm going to be super careful because it's a very inappropriate cover, called Monopolize. And yeah, so as you probably know, because I've talked about it before, I do collect a lot of FAQ. I don't know what sort of series it's going to be before I pick it up. It's luck of the draw most of the time. Unfortunately, this one was an NTR one, and I hated it. I really hated it. It's probably one of my least favourite ones that I've read so far. I don't understand. I got to the end and I just felt really sad, like really just down and shit. So I was like, I need to read something more jolly after this. I didn't like it. I hated it. Do not recommend. If someone is interested in getting to a FAQ, don't start with this one. And then the next volume I have for you is Blue Lock, Volume 8. Once again, I am not a football fan. I have been to a football game or two. Not for me. I got very cold. But I very much like Blue Lock because it doesn't really feel like I'm reading football. It feels like I'm reading a battle shonen. So in Volume 8, we are doing one of the like 3-on-3 trials to try and progress on, and you can take someone from the losing team. So Isagi's team is against these three, and I don't remember the guy in the middle. I think we've seen him before, but I don't remember him. But the other two were on his team way back at the beginning of the series. So it was a really fun match to read about, especially I absolutely loved the whole bit with I'm so bad with names, that's why I keep flipping through to go, which one was that one again? Or at least I can show you a picture. This guy, Baru, I loved the whole bit with him where he got knocked down a peg and was like, basically told, you're a shit loser, work on your team and we can do amazing things. And he kept being like, nah, I don't need any help, I can do it all on my own. And then he couldn't do it on his own, and he kind of had a bit of a breakdown in the middle of the match, and it was glorious to read. Seeing someone who is that arrogant getting knocked down a peg is just a beautiful thing to witness. Maybe that's a horrifying, terrifying, awful thing to say, but it is. And then seeing them pick themselves back up and realise that actually teamwork ain't so bad. Working with other people and having people support you, it can be a good thing. And yeah, they won their match, and now we got the whole bit at the end where they're like, who should we take on our team? I've covered one of their faces. Who should we take on our team? I really kind of hope they take How do you pronounce it? The really fast guy. I really hope we take him because I quite liked him, but I don't know if he's the best. I don't know. Maybe it's this guy because I think this is the guy where I'm like, I don't remember who he is. I think it's him. Also, very, very much love the color of this volume. That is a beautiful purple. I'm very happy with this one. I'm really hoping to try and do some more reading, though I have a few more days and then I'm back to London again for another concert because they're all so close together. I probably won't film a video for that trip because I only did Trash Taste like a week ago with Tiffany, and I did a London video then, which will go up at some point. I'll have to check the schedule. So I don't know if I'll do a vlog for that one. So most of the time you'll see of my trip in London for that one will be in this, probably. But I'm on the verge of having 5 videos filmed and I need to get some of those edited, so that will definitely cut into my manga reading time. Also all the house jobs, tidying thing I'm doing. I've got a lot to do. And it's eating into my manga time. That makes me angry. Hopefully I'm in a better mood when I talk about the next volume though. Hello! So, next volume I read on the train down to London, because I am once again here, was A Business Proposal Volume 2. I do like these slice of life, manwas, office, romance, adult things, but like I really do struggle at the moment to tell it apart with like What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. There are differences in the story, but like I remember yesterday morning when we were setting off to come down, I was like, Ben, grab me Secretary Kim 2, it's the pink one. And he was like, I've got the pink one, but it's not Secretary Kim. And I was like, yes it is. No, it's Business Proposal, but I just can't remember the difference between the two sometimes. I did like it. I like the silliness, like the silly bit. Let's see if I can find a bit. These like silly chibi moments like that. I enjoy these, I think, the most, and I think I'm enjoying Business Proposal more than Secretary Kim, though I love Volume 2 Secretary Kim. I think the humour is more fun in this, but I think the romance so far has been more fun in Secretary Kim. I like the end of this volume. He's basically figured out who she actually is and is trying to get it out of her, basically. So I think I'm looking forward to the series more now that he now knows who she is and what will happen next. I also do appreciate how chunky this is. So chunky. I did get halfway through reading another volume on the train down, but I didn't quite finish it, so that will be the next one. Probably won't do it on the train though, because trains are loud. Right. Jungle Juice. So, I received a Yen Press parcel with a bunch of Yen Press volumes in, so there's going to be a whole swathe of Yen Press coming up. And I read Jungle Juice because I'm like determined to stay on top of my Easy Press now that I've caught up. And of course they sent me 2 Easy Press volumes that I have not yet read. Anywho, Jungle Juice. So at first, before I went into it, I'll be honest, I was a little nervous. I'm not big on bugs myself, so when I was like, it's to do with bugs, I was like, okay, we'll see. But actually, I really quite enjoyed it. So it's kind of like, it reminded me a bit of like X-Men in terms of there is a school so it reminded me a bit of like X-Men, except everyone is part bug, and so there is a school called the Nest, I think, and everyone who's here is part bug, and they can train and understand how to use their bug abilities, or they can just try and live a comfortable life. So the basic premise is this guy here actually is part dragonfly, and he's trying to hide it and live a normal life. And he goes on a date with this girl, and they're at the movie theatre, and they're attacked. And she ends up falling out of a window, but it's okay. He dives after her and saves her because he has wings, he can fly. Though this is also the first time he's ever actually used his wings. And he's like, it's okay, I'll go see her, see how she's doing. Unfortunately, she hasn't taken it very well, and Nev wants to see him again, and he's like, shit, what do I do? At which point he's then sort of recruited by this person to go move into the bug school and train. And he's kind of told that the best top student or something like that gets a potion called Cinderella, which removes their bug-like abilities and they're just human again. So he's decided that what he's going to do is
be top student, get the thing, and become human again. But it's what I must say, I was really astounded at how pretty this is. I must say, absolutely gobsmacked. I mean, the background especially, like the colouring, the shading, the sunlight coming through the trees genuinely feels like sunlight's coming through the trees. Ooh. There were also some quite dark, gory moments, so be careful of that. But actually, yeah, very surprised, pleasantly surprised, enjoyed it a lot, very happy, would recommend, can't wait for more. The next volume I read was My Happy Marriage Volume 4. Now, I think this might be my least favourite volume so far in the series, but that's not necessarily, again, because it's bad. I think just not a huge amount happened in this one, and we didn't really actually see much time between the two of them together. Basically, we wrapped up an arc, but she's still struggling with like self-confidence and pushing herself too much. She's having bad nightmares about her childhood. She's not sleeping. She's getting very, very, very sick. You can actually kind of see on the cover, she does not look well. She is not well. Unfortunately, because of other things happening, he's been very busy and barely been home. So she's been overworking herself, getting really tired and sick, and he's not really been around. And it's just, she's struggling. But it's like most of the volume is just her struggling. We kind of start to see a potential beginning of them trying to solve what to do because of that towards the end of the volume, but most of it was kind of set up and we don't really see much interaction between the two of them, which I kind of missed. I don't actually think there is a date for volume 5 either. We've got a long way to go. And there were some really pretty pictures, really nice panels. Oh, look how pretty she is. She looks so at peace. It's like, So yeah, I'm gonna look it up, but I don't know when volume 5 is out. I know the anime has been renewed for a second season, which is excellent. I assume it's all going off the light novels at the moment, because the light novels obviously much further ahead. But yeah, no, I don't think I was disappointed. I wish there was more interactions between the two of them, is what I wanted.
Okay, so I didn't manage to do as much daily vlogging as I hoped, but I did just about manage to get through the rest of the volumes that Yempress sent me before I went away to London last week. So it is currently October 1st, and I finished reading these literally in bed before going to sleep. I stayed up a little later than I should have just to make sure I got through them. So Yempress sent me 10 volumes, but one of the volumes was one that actually they had already sent me before, but I realised that I didn't really talk about it in any other video, so I'm going to include the volumes they sent me before in my September manga haul and talk about them there, because I didn't read it in September, I read it a few months ago, so instead of including it in this video, which wouldn't be appropriate to me, I'm going to include it in that one. So I have 8 other volumes to talk to you about. These are not in any particular order, they're not in the order I read them, they're not in the order I enjoyed them, they're just in the random order they got stacked in. First off, we have Ephemeral Scenes of Setsuna's Journey. That is the title, as I botched how to say that second word. This actually was an isekai, which I didn't realise it was. I'd never even heard of the title before it turned up. This is probably the one that I was like going into the most unknown of the lot. But it's an isekai, so did I enjoy it? Obviously. It was actually kind of light-hearted. It's another guy's ended up with OP abilities and is just going to journey and live a nice life. And he ends up taking on this Beast Boy as his apprentice who has not had a good life because he's a Beast Boy, and he's trying to like teach him to be nice and happy, have a good life and all that. While I did enjoy it, it's an isekai. I do always enjoy my isekai. It definitely wasn't anything mind-blowing to me. I don't think there was anything too much about it that really set it apart. The art style is quite nice, and we have some mystery around a guy that gave him his OP abilities towards the beginning of the story. Why did he do it? What's happening? What's with this world? So basically, this guy has been summoned to this world, and he's the 68th hero. Very disappointed they didn't wait for one more. Unfortunately, in his previous life, he was very sickly, and he has unfortunately carried that over to his next life. So they're all like, well, shit, we'll just shove him in a room and leave him to it. And he's like, great, what's the point of me being here? And then a previous many numbers ago, Hero turns up in his bedroom and is like, do you want all my powers? Do you want me to take my body, all that stuff. And he's like, no, 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 no. And the guy's like, I've lived a really long time. Come on, just take it. I've had enough. Take it. And he's like, yeah, okay. So then there's a whole mystery around the previous guy, that body he's taken. It was also isekai way back a long time ago, also from Japan. It does have unique bits to it. I just don't think... It's not blown me away yet, so far. Next we have Stray Cat and Wolf. Now, this is the same manga artist as Cheeky Brat. I have read the first couple, 2 volumes, I think, of Cheeky Brat. I think it's okay. I'm not massive on the dynamic between the 2 characters. And I must say, the dynamic is very, very similar in this one. In the same type of, like, edgy, hot guy who gets the hots for the girl, and subdued, grumpy, unfazed girl who is having mixed feelings because she's going to fight them and she doesn't understand what's happening. So because I wasn't that bothered about Cheeky Brat, again, this I was less fussed by. I think the biggest thing I took from this I found a bit weird was the age gap. Now, in terms of age gaps, I've been wanting to do a video on it for a long time. I don't have an issue with an age gap. I have an issue when one of the people is a minor and one of them isn't, which I think is what's happening here. We don't know what his age is, but I think we say that her age is 15. I was like, why did I think she was 15? So basically, she lived with her dad. Don't know where the mother is. Dad unfortunately passed away when she was 5, and then she was sent to go live with her grandmother in the most remote village in the middle of a mountain somewhere. I don't know, remote, middle of nowhere village for 10 years before then moving to Tokyo. So she might be 16, but she might be 15. So far, I don't think they've said. And because she's grown up in this super secluded village, she was pretty much the only person in her school. There were that few people in the village, and she was orchestrated for some reason. She doesn't really know why, we don't know why, but she's been very isolated and is super unaware of, like, just how to socialize and talk to people and be around people. And she kind of collapses in the middle of the street in front of this guy and a friend of his, and they want to call an ambulance, but she's like, no, 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 no. And they're like, okay, and then they take them back to his apartment to let her lie down, and she ends up just kind of staying there for a while. But like, so I don't think they say his age in the volume. I went up and looked for reviews to see what other people said, and a lot of reviews were placing him like mid-20s, which, so a 15, 16-year-old and a mid-20-year-old, and she's like immediately moved in, and also he keeps kissing her. So he's in a band, she's going to high school because she is a child, and yeah. Like, even just making her like 18, maybe? But why high school? Why? It's starting to feel a bit like, because especially him like jumping on her and she's super confused. She doesn't know what emotion she's feeling because she's never had anyone to talk to. She doesn't know what's happening, and it just feels so much like taking advantage, and it didn't feel good to read. So that's my thoughts on this one. Tokyo Babylon. I know a lot of people in the Discord were very, very excited that this got a print. I did not realize, I don't know why, I didn't realize it was Yen Press, and I realized having read this, I've really not read much Clamp. Now I have Chobits, and I've read some Chobits, but I've not finished my volumes. I have the first hardcover of Kaguya Sakura, and then I have like splattering volumes from series like XXX Holic and Tsubasa Chronicles, because I mean, they're so out of print, I just have random volumes that I might find on World Books occasionally. So when it comes to like having read Clamp, I realized that this is probably going to be like one of my first real series. I watched Kaguya Sakura when I was a child, not knowing what anime was. I was like 4, maybe 5, maybe even younger actually. I'm not even sure I was at school. And then the bit of Chobits that I've read, so I've read a little bit. I'm considering this my first real dive into Clamp though. And I did actually quite enjoy it. I don't think I'm completely hooked yet. I struggled at the beginning of the volume because they threw a lot of information at you really quickly, and there was a lot of
long Japanese words and I didn't understand, and I pretty much had to read the first chapter like 5 times and I still didn't completely follow it. But I otherwise, once I got further into it, did enjoy it. It was about people like exorcising ghosts across Tokyo, or bad spirits, stuff like that. And I quite enjoyed it, and it was like getting into the depths of what was the problem that was causing the spooking and trying to alleviate that, however necessary. I must say though, I did struggle to take this character seriously, if only because of his broad shoulders. What is with his broad shoulders? Or have they got a tiny head? I don't know. But either way, the proportions are weird, and I just kept giggling every time I had to look at him. So I think so far of the ones I've shown you, this potentially is the one I enjoyed the most. It's definitely up there in the Empress volumes. So we have Maiden of the Needle, which also I didn't realise was an isekai. I thought it was just a fantasy. No, isekai. So a girl's been isekai'd, and to be fair, that's probably the end of our knowledge about her being isekai'd. I don't think they mention it any other else apart from, yeah, this was my Japanese name and now that's not me anymore. Anyway, here's my new life. So our main character has been born into this family that is renowned for doing something called blessed weaving, where you can do fancy weaving and you make clothes and you can stitch like enchantments into the clothing that you make. She unfortunately is unable to do that. She's confused, she doesn't know what it is, and her parents are like, well, we're disowning you, you shouldn't need to be taught, you should be able to just do it. However, she has been actually practicing sewing by hand since she was like basically a baby, because like even though she was reborn, but she still had her like mental capacity, so she started sewing clothes from a baby. But also she's able to see fairies and has been helping the fairies repair their clothes as well. It kind of reminds me in terms of the like White Cat's revenge plotted from the Dragon King's lap, where they can see the fairies but not everyone can see the fairies, and the fairies can like help do stuff. So yeah, then she ends up living a horrendous life where she's neglected, spending every minute every day just sewing at the demand of her parents, and it's like, if you don't finish sewing this, you won't be fed food. So she doesn't really sleep, she's just not okay. And then one day this guy comes along and has bought her or hired her, but he ends up taking her away and is like, we're gonna treat you well, just be my seamstress. I think he'd seen some of her work and was like, I want to hire that person, and does. And she's treated really well, and everyone there's really lovely, and she's really lovely back, and it's really, really adorable. That genuinely so lovely, having her seen her grow up in neglect, and then going to this place where people are kind to her and she's kind back, and the people that you don't have to be, so they're even more kind back. Oh, it's so nice. And then it kind of does get revealed, actually she can do this blessed weaving thing, she just doesn't know that's what she's doing, and that the fairies are helping her, and she's doing these insane enchantments on everything that she's making, to the point that the guy who like hired her is like, I need you to talk to someone, and it turns out to be a former king, and she makes him some clothes and he's like, these are great. And then it was going so well, and then on the very last page in the volume, will you marry me? Now, we don't know how old he is, but she is 15. They have said she is 15. Now, if he is the former king who has since retired, and also, like, that's him on the cover, he doesn't exactly look, like, that young. Though maybe he's deceiving us, but it's like, once again, I'm hoping that she kind of gloss over it and is like, I just want to sew. I don't care. I just want to sew. Because that was really nice. I liked the, like, watching her make the garments, and it was all pretty with the sewing and the fairies, and so depending on how they handed it into the second volume will depend on how much more I like the series, because I did like the series. I liked this volume. I did. Next we have Glitch, volume 1. Well, they're all volume 1s. So it reminded me a bit more of the graphic novel just because of the art style and the paneling. I think it was okay. I think this sort of series just isn't my kind of thing. It reminded me a little bit of like Summertime Rendering. So this family have moved to a new town, and there's this weird phenomenon happens and they call it glitches, or there was something else they called it.
weird stuff. And it kind of does just occasionally look like something is glitching in the world. As you can see on that panel there, just it's glitching. So the two kids of the family, one's like a younger kid, one's like a high schooler, I think, and they like the younger kids got like made a group of friends, and they're trying to investigate what all of the weird glitches are, and the older sisters joined in as well, and it was kind of just this volume investigating what was happening. There was some weird bits. They think it's something to do with the forest in the centre of the town. It was mostly it. More glitches appeared. This kind of story just isn't much my kind of thing. Weird mystery. Well, no, I do like mystery. I don't know what it was about this one that I didn't like. Maybe it was the art style, because I am fussy. But again, it wasn't I didn't like it. It was just like, okay. So I again, as I said, I do think it's not bad. It's just not for me. So potentially could still recommend if you're into your like small town mystery, weird phenomenon. Why do I keep saying words? I can't say blah, blah, blah. Potentially give it a go. Bocchi the Rock. Now, I had been so excited to try this series. I really, really was. And I feel like I'm being so negative. I'm so sorry. I am a little sleepy. That doesn't help me being negative. I really struggled to get through this volume. Now, it did get better towards the end of the volume, as I'd say past halfway, but I found myself really dragging myself to get through the first half. It took me days I think I started reading this about a week ago, and then I started reading other things just so I could keep reading. So this has a really popular anime, and Bocchi the Rock is about our main character. I can't remember her exact name, but her nickname is now Bocchi, and she is a really good guitarist. She has a YouTube channel, a faceless YouTube channel, and she plays guitars on it, and she's really good, and her videos do really well. She has a lot of fans, but she also has super extreme crippling social anxiety, like really, really bad. And through reasons, she ends up getting dragged into a band of other girls about her age, and she's like, she wants to become a rock star, so she's like, I need to do this to do what I want to do, but she's really, really struggling with the social anxiety, which on pen and paper I'm like, excellent, this is just the sort of thing I would enjoy. And as I said, I did enjoy it further in the volume I got. However, I did not realise initially that Bocchi the Rock is a 4-coma, and I do enjoy 4-comas. I don't think 4-coma's bad. I know some people really hate 4-comas. I am not one of them. However, I do think sometimes it can be harder to read through a 4-coma if you're not in the right mindset, just because the story is it feels so much more static. I don't feel like I'm flowing through the pages. I feel like I'm stuttering through the pages. Another thing I think I struggle with is so many of the characters look so similar. In manga, there's no colour. Yeah, sure, all the characters have different coloured hair, but that does not help me when I'm reading a black and white manga. And they were all young girls. All the characters are girls. I haven't seen any male characters. So it reminds me a lot of like Laid Back Camp or New Game. I don't know if there's like a word. Or I've Been Killing Slimes 300 Years. And my problem with those is just often the characters end up looking so similar. I can't tell who is who. I need something extreme about how they look to be able to tell them apart. I mean, it's something I in general struggle with like slice of life, not silly actiony series like One Piece or Fairy Tail, where they have very dramatic features and it's very easy to tell them apart. I generally need to try and read slice of lives together, otherwise I forget who's who. They all look the same. So reading this, I found it harder because it's 4-coma. I was struggling to tell who the characters were because I couldn't remember their names as well by that point because they look so similar. And I mean, the big point of it is that it's a music series, and I find it very hard for a music manga to really be as good as the anime, because the anime, you got sound. You don't got sound for this. So when they're having their big moments of like, damn, we're not doing great, I'm going to really riff on the guitar, and it's like, cool, I'm sure you sounded great, but I can't hear that. And I'm sure you're like, well, go to watch the anime. I'm not going to watch the anime. I am a manga reader. I don't have time to do both. I am not interested in double dipping. Manga only. So I think that's why, but like towards the second half, last third of the volume, there was kind of a vague arc, bigger arc, like scene thing happening, and I found it a bit easier to get through that before it wraps at the end, and I did enjoy that, and I enjoyed how it ended, which is why I am now more happy to read more, whereas I was like, oh no, I'm so disappointed, whereas I'm still a little disappointed, but less so now that I got to the end. Anywho, Do Over Damsel Conquers the Dragon Emperor. Now, I liked this. I liked this a lot, apart from one thing. Once again, it's the age gap. Now, our main story is this character gets engaged to the prince of this kingdom, is very, very happy, and dedicates herself to getting strong and becoming a good knight for the empire to protect him. And they get engaged when they're like 10. I think he's like a couple of years older than her, I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly. And they're just engaged, I don't think they're getting married. And then they age up, she's training, then a war breaks out, pretty bad war breaks out with the neighbouring kingdom. Fast forward a little bit, she's now 16, he's older than 16, and she's fighting in the wars for this kingdom, defending her people, and she then catches the prince in bed with his sister. Yeah, and you get a nice little panel of her peeking through the door. There's bedding covering everything, but Next day, unfortunately, for reasons, the princess decided to sentence her to death because she has done something, and she very magnificently holds her own and pretty much takes out all the people that have been sent after her, and then decides that and then realizes she won't actually be able to overpower everyone, decides to go out on her own terms and jumps off the building. She wakes up in her 10-year-old body the day that the prince proposes to her, and she's like, nope, not letting that happen. I am not letting him propose. Now obviously nothing's happened, this war hasn't broken out or anything, so she can't like just tell people or also he's the prince and she's just like a daughter of a noble family, but she's gifted in some way. So they go to this party and she's like, I'm just gonna avoid the prince, just keeps running away from him. He keeps trying to approach her and she's like, nope, running away. And then she eventually gets cornered by the prince, and the prince is like, why do you keep refusing and running away from me? And she's like, I've already found my true love, and it's him, and just grabs the random person stood behind her. And he's like, yeah, sure, okay, let's get married. And it turns out it is the emperor of the neighbouring kingdom of which there is going to be a war in a few years' time. He is ecstatic. He has, it turns out, a curse, and no one wants to be around him or with him or marry him. So the fact that someone wants to be with him is just like, he's so happy about it all. And then they just sort of head back to his kingdom. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? You want to be with me? Here's a cake that I baked. And she's like, this is so good, because she wouldn't eat anything naughty in the previous life because she was training to be a knight and doing it for a partner and nothing else, and she's like, screw him, I'm gonna eat cake. However, we then learn the ages of the characters. So she has now gone back to her 10-year-old body, and we learn that he is 19. What I'm hoping is gonna happen is they keep alluding to how her body and soul aren't quite in sync, and it's unstable and not quite right. So what I'm really, really hoping is that some weird magic stuff happens which causes her body to age up to her mental age, which is 16, which I think makes it a whole lot better. Because yeah, sure, she's mentally 16, but she's in a 10-year-old body, and no one else knows that she has the mind of a 16-year-old. So I did like it, and I'm hoping it's gonna go down the whole change her body route, because otherwise I liked it. I did. Apart from this, final volume in this video, this stack, is Overgeared. I really liked this one. I genuinely think this and Jungle Juice have probably been my favorites from the Yen Press beauty stack that they gave me. This is a video game. I'm gonna say isekai. I know some people are like, going into a video game isn't an isekai. Well, it is. It is. It is a video game, MMO game like Sword Art Online. The guy goes into the game and ends up getting accidentally acquires a legendary class, which makes him a super cool blacksmith, basically. Legendary classes are so super rare. This game is massive. It's got billions of players. It's talked about on news networks. Everyone knows about it. It's just a legendary class is so rare, and he ends up using it. And also through some accidental foibles, he ends up getting his level set to -3. He has to go through some funky shit to be able to level back up to level 1. But he ends up, because of having to do these 3 extra levels that no one else has to do, ends up with extra skill points compared to other people would be at the level he currently is. He's also just insanely good at blacksmithing, being able to make epic versions of items on his first attempt that have never been seen pretty much in the history of the game except maybe once, and he's just done it first try without too much thought. We also get statuses and stats a whole lot throughout the entire series, and I am here for it. I love when they do that so much. Look at, he crafted something and we got all the stats for the weapon that he crafted. And then towards the end of the volume, he has tried to sell these super fancy arrows that he made on the market board, and everyone's like, who made these epic level arrows? We must have them as part of our guild. And everyone's now trying to track him down, but he's not realised. He's kind of like, I'm gonna keep making blacksmith stuff and get loads of money from it. I'm gonna be rich. If you're into your video game isekai, 100% recommend. I don't know when it's out, though this video isn't going to go out. I'm filming it 1st of October, but I don't think it's going to go out till November, so there's a good chance this will be out by then, and I absolutely do recommend it. I very much liked it a lot. And I'm so sad, because it means I have to wait an even longer time for volume 2. That was my September reading vlog to show that I do actually read manga once or twice on occasion. I don't know how long this video is going to be because I've been recording for like 40 minutes just to do these 8 volumes, and I've read, I think I actually did just about hit 30. If there are not 30 volumes in this video, it means I've forgotten to record one, and I am ever so sorry about that. But I do think this video is going to be long enough as is. I plan to do these at least twice a year because I worked out, I think I did one in March and then one in September, so that is every 6 months. But I might try and do it 3 times a year. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do one in December because I take most of December off holiday, so I'll have more time to read. Maybe I'll just do a week of reading because that might be a lot of reading. If I keep saying I'm going to do loads of reading then really manage to not. I'm so sorry. If you haven't already, don't forget to check out my social media and affiliate links found down below, like the Dudette Discord. We are kind of close to hitting 1,000 members, and I'm going to do giveaways when we hit 1,000 members, so definitely join and have some fun in there. Everyone's super lovely and chatty and nice and non-judgmental. We're very friendly, I promise. And also use code Caketinz on Sci-Fi to get 10% off your orders. Remember to like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you thought of my reads for the month, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.